Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you for watching my video today and welcome to everybody. Do you ever have those days when you want to make something but you don't really know what you want to do? I was having one of those moments. I just wanted to get some colour down. So when I feel like that, I often grab a tag because they are nice and, straightforward to do. And I do love just getting some colour down, and I don't use my oxide sprays as much as I should. So I decided to get out my Distress Oxides and just have a play and see what happened. So I got out the Wild Honey, the Picked Raspberry and the Peacock Feathers because these are some of my go-to colours. I really love those Distress Ink colours. So I made sure to dry in between each layer because I wanted to try and lay them up. I did perhaps put a little bit more peacock feathers down than I intended. So I added a little bit of water on to try and get a little bit of lightness and oxidization going on in there. And I made sure that I heated it. That doesn't sound right. I heated up to make sure that they were all nice and dry. Now I wanted to add some texture paste on. Now one of the things about Distress Oxide is that it has a tendency to come through if you use a white paste, it comes through into the paste. So if you want a really white paste, a really white look, sometimes the Distress Oxide isn't the best to go on top of, but I actually didn't mind that look for this. So I'm using the Stamperia cream paste and I'm going through this Lemon Creation stencil, which I think is called Running in Circles. I'll list everything in the description box as always. And I just loved how this looked. I just went for it across the middle of the tag and I knew the colour would come through, but that was fine. I then got out the Collage soup book, Face It, and I didn't actually want any of the faces. I wanted to use some of these butterflies. So I didn't really know at this point whether these were going to be focal points or what I was going to do with them. As it turns out, they sort of became a bit of a background part. So I'm just cutting out a selection of different shapes, not different shapes, they're all butterfly shapes, different sizes and different colours, and then just cutting right up to the edge of the imagery. And I did actually for once cut around the antennae as well, which is quite unusual for me. I do tend to try and cut those off, but they were wide enough that I felt that I could sort of get away with doing that. So at this point, I decided I was going to have them as a background feature, and because I felt they went really nicely with the colours that were already on the tag. So I wanted to use a little bit more of a substantial glue than I usually. Often I use my matte medium, but I'm using some actual white acrylic glue just to make sure they were properly stuck down. And I was not worried if they were going off the edge because I knew that I would go round and cut off any excess from the edges after I'd finished sticking them down. So I sort of wanted them to sort of be flowing up the page, almost around in that circle, just like the texture paste was. And some of them were going to be more off the page than not. And I was just like, I did have a bit of a struggle with this glue at some point, but I managed to unblock it and get those all stuck down. Then I just turned the tag over because it's always a lot easier to cut any excess off from the back of a project. Now, because I already had those butterflies, I thought, I know what, I'm going to go for another butterfly. But where I had all that colour, I now wanted to have something black and white. So this is a stamp from Rubber Dance Studio, or just Rubber Dance stamps. And it is Grungy Butterfly number 3. It was the larger of the ones on there. And I had this little stamp on there that says Make Art. I don't think it actually came with the set. I think it's an extra little one that I just happened to stick on there with it. And I just wanted to add a little bit of extra colour in, so I went round with the Distress ink in black soot, and then I went round with the Archival just to really draw your eye into that tag. Because I'd got so much darkness on there, I wanted to reintroduce some white, so I'm using the Copic Acrea to do that, and then it could go into the middle of the tag. But first I thought, no, I've now got that black there, I want to add a little bit of black splatters, so I'm using the Winsor & Newton Black Indian ink. The first time I did the paintbrush in, I don't think I got any on the brush, but I got some splats on there. And then because I then had so much black, I thought I'll have some thread, but for a change I'd use white thread just to bring that butterfly up and off of the tag. So thank you ever so much for watching my video today. If you have enjoyed it, do please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, it would be fabulous if you could hit that subscribe button as well to continue following me on this arty crafty journey. And until the next time, bye bye.